Xenoblade Genesis has a chance to be Monolith Soft's best-selling and best-reviewed game, in addition to being its best game overall. And there's a number of reasons why I want to go over this. And really, there's not a ton of info to go off of. But if you look at the build-up to this and you look at how Monolith Soft constructed this beast of a game that's going to be coming up in 2027, and then you also look at some of the developments that are happening after the trailer that's launched, I do think that this is going to be quite different when it comes to Monolith Soft, and we're going to discuss every reason why here. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers, or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. Shoutouts to Stealth over on Twitter, but he actually talked about the full post and message that Monolith Soft talked about a few years ago when it comes to the recruitment for Xenoblade Genesis. On Twitter, he says, "Now we know when Tetsuya Takahashi wrote this message in 2024 to help recruit for a new Monolith Soft RPG, it was Xenoblade Genesis." So the message here, Tetsuya Takahashi, he's the director and CCO of Monolith Soft and general director of the Xenoblade series. And the message says this: "Hello everyone, this is Takahashi from Monolith Soft. This is the first time in a while that we've been recruiting development staff for a Monolith Soft's first production. I can't go into details here, but the genre is a new RPG. Our new RPG is taking on many new challenges compared to the previous Monolith Soft titles. Naturally, the content we need to create is more sophisticated, and we need many talented team members, which is why we are currently recruiting. For convenience, we have narrowed down the job openings to 8 positions, but we are basically recruiting in all areas. The required skill levels are also in all areas, from asset creation to lead development. As I mentioned in our previous recruitment announcement, Monolith Soft has always produced titles with a small team relative to their scale. While that was something to be proud of, the current state of the game scene makes that approach unsustainable. For example, the era of relying on sheer manpower to produce a large volume of content is long gone. Providing an efficient production environment has become the norm. To meet the ever-increasing demands of our customers, diverse knowledge and the resulting cross-functional collaboration are essential. In the role-playing game genre, various elements such as fields, battles, characters, quests, and story are closely interconnected. This is especially true for open-world games, which have become commonplace these days, and frankly speaking, it is difficult to create each element in isolation. Of course, it's not impossible to create such a game, but if there is no coordination between the different elements, it will be immediately obvious to the player, and that is not what we want. We put a tremendous amount of effort into creating our games, so we want as many people as possible to enjoy them. That's the mindset we've always had when creating our works at Monolith Soft. This time, we're looking for people who share this sentiment and who are seeking such a creative environment. I apologize if this sounds a bit formal, but Monolith Soft is not a rigid, inflexible organization, at least in our first production. We are an organization whose character is characterized by being relatively rough and easygoing. Please feel free to knock on our door. Let's create new works and a new organization together." But this statement shows exactly the type of person and man that Mr. Tetsuya Takahashi is. This is why Monolith Soft games have so much sauce. This is why they have so much heart behind them. You need a driving force that's going to lead people in an easygoing environment, but at the same time also likes to get things done. And I think that statement right there, this is 2024. This game is coming out in 2027. They've probably been working on it since 2022, 2023, when they finished up Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and the DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. So this game has been in development, or by the time that it comes out in 2027, we're looking at about a 4 to 5 year development period for this title. And this recruitment drive at this point, he states right there that they're going to need a bit more. This is 2024, so they've pretty much already probably got a lot of the basic story, a lot of the game kind of done, and now they're really looking at the debugging. They're really looking at making sure that they flesh out the worlds and everything works in cohesion to get this game past the finish line in the second half. And this is something that's actually common for games to start it up and kind of have the game going, and then while you're in the halfway or past halfway mark, you hire more to get it past the finish line. And especially you're going to need those people for the next project, because these are the type of people that are going to build the atmosphere that makes you who you are as a company so you can serve your customers. That mission statement right there to me shows that Xenoblade Genesis will be the biggest endeavor and probably their best so far. And we've got a number of reasons why this is happening as well. The Nintendo Switch 2 system itself, I've stated this before in previous videos, but this system offers Monolith Soft significantly more resources, memory, RAM, and just a better system to the point to where they need that. They can't do it just on sheer manpower and willpower. They can't do it like they've done before, where they powered through with like 40 people with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 creating a massive RPG. They're going to need more people because this system provides so much more when it comes to the quality of what you can do in the game. So that's one of the reasons why I do think that Xenoblade Genesis is going to be their best work. This system provides that. This is the best state that we've seen a Monolith Soft game when they first show it. A lot of the times it can look a little bit rough dating all the way back to Xenoblade and even before that. But if we're talking from Xenoblade and on with Nintendo in this era, this is by far the best state that we've seen, quality, everything, and it's not done. They're not finished. Even if you look at the website, people have noticed that the trailer compared to the dedicated website, there's been updates to the graphics. Even in that, it looks a bit better on the web portal than it does on the trailer. So that was even an older build. This is the type of thing that I'm talking about when it comes to the quality and making sure that you don't have the same type of launch that you had originally with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and to a lesser degree Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Now, another thing here is wanting and needing this game to do better. Now, Nintendo has put a big investment in Monolith Soft. They have 3 different production companies. You have the Monolith Soft first production team. That's the one that works on Xenoblade and their big RPGs. Then you have 2 other satellite studios that help Nintendo with Zelda and with Splatoon and with Animal Crossing and other games. Now, with a Monolith Soft first team production type of game, they need this to do better. They still need to make money and bring money in and be valuable to the company, even outside of helping them develop some of the biggest games that do make a ton of money. Monolith Soft still needs to bring in something with their RPGs. So I do feel that Monolith Soft is feeling a bit of pressure to deliver, especially after the incredible Xenoblade Chronicles 3 plus Future Redeemed. Also, Xenoblade Chronicles X coming back, that was also really good, but I do think that they do need to deliver here. So I think that Takahashi, with this statement, he's pretty much saying, hey, this game has to be good and we need to get the players invested in what we're trying to create. And in order to meet that, we need to have the people here that can rise above what we've ever done before. This mission statement perfectly encapsulates kind of all of that. So this game definitely needs to do better, but they have the person in charge here that can drive this game to do better. Getting new players is key, and I think that Mr. Takahashi knows that, but also satisfying current players is important, and he talks about their customers and having to meet what their need, the demands of the customers. You need that diverse knowledge, and cross functionality and collaboration are essential. He knows that the people that create these type of games, they're the most important in order to serve the players. So with Xenoblade Genesis, I think that getting those new players is going to be based off of the quality of the game and the history that Monolith Soft has. When Monolith Soft puts out games, a lot of times people look at it and say, you know what, this game is kind of crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things happening, but I think Xenoblade Genesis is going to be the game that kind of resets that, almost in the title saying, hey, look, you don't have to worry about it saying Xenoblade 2 or Xenoblade 3 or having some type of connection to a lot of the other games. You can just jump in right now. And if you're a Xenoblade or Monolith Soft fan, you already know what it's all about. We know that you're going to buy the game, but if you're somebody new, you don't have to worry about playing all the other games and seeing characters from other games and saying, well, wait a minute, I didn't play that game. Maybe should I go back and play that one? You can just start from there and you can play, and you need to set the tone. That's why I say, like, it's super important. This is their first big game on this new hardware. This is going to decide kind of what's going on for the tone and the generation for the Nintendo Switch 2. You have to make a very good first impression, just like we saw with the original Xenoblade, just like we saw a bit with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You have to make that first good impression. But I do think it's going to be a breakthrough game for them in that sense, just like Xenoblade 1, just like Xenoblade 2. This is going to break through for them and reach potentially a way bigger audience than they've ever reached before. And that's how Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 were compared to the previous games. I think this game has a very good chance of being that breakthrough game, being their best game, and going beyond what we've seen Monolith Soft do, which is around 2.5 to 3 million units. That's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think this game has a very good opportunity and chance to surpass that based off of everything that we've talked about here at this point. And I do think that when you look at Monolith Soft, how they've gathered all the experience from working on all the different Xenoblade games, Xenosaga, so many games over the decades that they've put, I think that they can kind of channel all of that and put it into this one game so they can really make an experience that will resonate with longtime RPG players, in addition to Monolith Soft fans and new people as well. They did not show combat at all, and that's one of the things that people are kind of wondering, how is this combat going to be? Is it going to have more action elements, more turn-based elements? Is it going to play like previous Xenoblade games? And I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because of what Mr. Takahashi said in this mission statement. The fantasy setting, that is different. You got the elf ears from all the different characters that we've seen so far, some of the races. You got no Nopons in here. You've got a very different setting than what we've usually gotten from Monolith Soft. Before in the past, it's been described as a sci-fi setting with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is a fantasy setting. It looks like the technology and kind of what's going on here is a bit further back. Maybe this is before a lot of the stuff with the conduit or what's kind of happening there that gave them immense power. So I love this. This reset or going back to Genesis, which is probably the beginning of the world, or after everything has happened, well after everything is happening, the new beginning of whatever world they're trying to create. So for me at least, this can create a more grounded RPG fantasy experience to where they can go back to the basics and create something really intriguing and really fun from a combat perspective. Now, I am more leaning towards, when it comes to the combat system or kind of what they're trying to do, I'm kind of leaning more towards it's going to be more action elements, still with some turn-based type of stuff in there, like if you have team-up attacks like they've done with Xenoblade Chronicles before, where you can kind of all pick something, then bash your opponent all at the same time, like we've seen with the chain attacks, or breaking the orbs in Xenoblade 2. So I do think that there might be some things like that, but I think that they could do something to where you can have full control of your character and your attacks, but you can't spam. So there could be somewhat of a meter, like an ATB type of meter, to where you can't just spam attacks, like let's say a Tales or a Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth type of game. And then maybe you also have the arts that can load up, and then you can bash them with like an art once it powers up or once it charges up to the max. So that's something that I think that they can do for this type of game that will make it to where it kind of crosses what they've done before, but then also doesn't do exactly the same thing, because the staple of every single Xenoblade game is auto attacking. You auto attack, your arts fill up, and then you bash them. You get a chain attack, you get something big to where you can do massive damage on the enemy. So I think that kind of messing with that fundamentals, I think that's going to be fun. But once again, they didn't show any combat in the game. They have a new form of energy with anima. It's not the same as ether or some of the stuff that's been used in other Xenoblade games. So this is going to be a different experience. I think it's going to have a different combat system. I don't expect the blade like we had in Xenoblade 1 or Xenoblade X to come back. I do think they're going to try to simplify the UI. That's one of the things that I've talked about in previous videos with Xenoblade, that they need to kind of look at that UI, because there's sometimes a lot going on screen, a lot of different prompts and a lot of different buttons. And I know some people love that, and I like it too, but I think that that kind of confuses maybe some of the other RPG players out there. So if they can clean up the UI, clean up the visual interface, and also have an in-depth RPG that does a lot of depth for people that really want to explore, so easy to pick up, hard to master type of thing, and of course tons of secret bosses and different locations to go to, beautiful visuals, incredible music, all the things that make a Monolith Soft experience a Monolith Soft experience. That's how Xenoblade Genesis, with the power of the Nintendo Switch 2, with a bigger, badder, and leaner development team, that's how this can become their best selling, best reviewed, and best Monolith Soft game ever, and potentially be in the running for a game of the year type of situation next year in 2027. A lot of the big games are coming out this year. Next year, obviously, we're going to see new games, and there's going to be great reviewed games and all of that. But Xenoblade has a very good chance, just like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in 2022. Obviously, it wasn't going to win when it comes to that because Elden Ring was 2022, but it was still nominated. So I do think that Xenoblade Genesis also has the opportunity to be nominated next year because of the up in quality, because of what they've learned over the course of all this. So I'm incredibly excited to see how all of this plays out, but I believe in Monolith Soft, I trust in Tetsuya Takahashi, and I cannot wait to learn more about Xenoblade Genesis because I do think this will be their best up to this point. So what do you guys think about everything that I talked about here with Xenoblade Genesis? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Xenoblade Genesis videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.